Greetings and good evening. I think this is a very nice initiative that is being brought out by PGI Chandigarh, and Dr. Akshay Anand and his team really deserve a lot of credit for bringing us together at a time like this. While all of you know many things about yoga, in this few minutes, I would like to tell you a little bit about the connection between yoga and the immune system, yoga and infection, and also go into the link between yoga and respiratory system functions. Now, yoga and immunity is a subject which obviously is very well known. And what is the link between yoga practice, whether we talk of yoga as a lifestyle, which is what it is, or yoga as the practices which were so wonderfully described by the sage Patanjali over 3,000 years ago? Whichever way we think of yoga, it has an impact not just on our physical body, as all of you know, but on our mental state. And because of what is known as psychoneuroimmunology, it impacts our immune system. This link was very nicely brought out by a person who can be considered an expert in the field, and her name is Janice Kiecolt-Glaser. She is currently the director of the Institute of Mind-Body Medicine at Ohio State University, and is considered one of the experts in this field. We also have many people who have worked in this area in India. Now, Janice Kiecolt-Glaser can be here because in the early 1980s, she established that students of her university who were stressed, either because it was the first time they were away from home or who had examination stress, well, this showed up as a deficit in their immune system, particularly in the levels of natural killer cells. And then she's gone on to look at various other aspects of lifestyle and how they impact the immune system. And in this journey, she has also explored yoga. In a study which was published in Psychosomatic Medicine in 2010, she described a very interesting effect. There were experts in yoga, that is, people who had been practicing Hatha Yoga, mainly asanas which are described in the Hatha Yoga texts, for a minimum of 90 minutes, 2 times a week for 12 weeks. And there were novices, 25 of each, all women, all healthy, with an average age of 41.3 years. Now, they had 3 types of interventions: yoga, in equal duration, that is 30 minutes of yoga on one day, 30 minutes of running on a treadmill on another day, and 30 minutes of passively watching a video on a third day. And the sequence of these 3 interventions was random. And they were subjected to stressors before and after these interventions. And it was very interesting to note that on all occasions, the novices showed greater signs of chronic inflammation than the experts. They had 41% higher levels of interleukin-6 and a 4.75% chance of detectable C-reactive protein compared to the experts. So we see a difference between healthy women, between novices and those who have been practicing yoga for 12 weeks. A similar trend continued to be observed by Kiecolt-Glaser and her colleagues when they looked at people, women, who were breast cancer survivors. And similarly, not just in the markers of chronic inflammation, but some other indicators of immune system functioning. And this work has also been done by numerous laboratories in India, very elegant studies. And one of the things which I would like to mention then is that this led people to try and speculate what are the ways in which yoga influences the immune system. And there are 2 main ways. This is put together in a very nice review. One is psychological, and the awareness. For example, we keep saying, can we have early detection? Can we be aware of the subtle differences between a cold and symptoms? Maybe we get better interoception and perception of ourselves and better awareness, because it is also clearly known that interoception or awareness of body symptoms and body health is better if we practice yoga. So a person is able to perceive when they're tired, when they need more sleep, if they're overeating. So the first thing, better awareness. Perception of an event. So how should we perceive this pandemic that is going around? We should perceive it as something of grave importance, which requires our attention and precautions to be properly carried out, but does not require us to panic, because panic is going to be useless. So perception of what is necessary and what is unnecessary. And the third, coping strategies. So can we have healthy coping strategies? So now, while we are all in lockdown, we don't want to spend our time in comfort eating or drinking alcohol or any of these undesirable habits. Rather, if we exercise or eat healthy foods or connect with other people, definitely it's going to be considered a healthy coping strategy. And fourth way, which I liked very much, is that yoga practice enhances our sense of compassion, not just compassion towards others, which of course is so very important, but also self-compassion. And for all of you who are health workers, I think that's very important at this stage. Take care of yourselves, because you're doing something so vital and important. And finally, I really like the fifth psychological possible way, and that is through the spirituality. So this was very beautiful. And then we also come a little further, that is, what are the biological ways? Cortisol reduction through changes in the sleep structure, cytokine production increases if you sleep well. So all of you should get your sleep, good digestion, various other things, including chronic inflammation, the limbic system reactivity, which is so much spoken about, and even immune cell gene expression. So all this is important. Now, what about infection? Can yoga help for an infection? One study, which was done some time ago, published in Respirology in 2004, has actually shown that for people with sputum positive tuberculosis, which is a chronic bacterial infection, not at all viral, yoga is beneficial as an add-on therapy, added on to the conventional treatment in reducing the infection load. So people who are sputum positive become sputum negative quicker. Does it mean it is going to do the same thing for a viral infection? We do not know. Maybe, maybe not. But this is just a thought that I will put before you. And then now to talk on respiration, before I move on to a little bit of a practice, I would like to say more anecdotal. While we know that yoga definitely increases tidal volume, lung capacities, the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood, and many other things, the reactivity of the bronchi reduces in bronchial asthmatics. I'd like to share an anecdote in 1 or 2 minutes. Right way back, many, many years ago, when I was a PhD scholar, I didn't know anything about yoga then, and I was asked to do yoga. And at that time, I used to have frequent episodes of bronchoconstriction and requiring intravenous aminophylline and landing me in the emergency room. I didn't want to do yoga at all. I thought it was mambo chambo at that time, which is long back. And at the time, I would say that my tidal volume was very low. If someone asked me to chant Om, it used to come out very feebly, like a bird's cry. As I started practicing, I was convinced, and from then on, I have never looked back, because within 2 weeks, I myself could feel that my voice, my lung capacity had increased. And that was the convincing I needed, far beyond any data. Of course, we collected data as well. So does yoga help for the respiratory system? I believe it definitely does. And I'm going to mention one more effect which will help us lead into the practice. Each pranayama practice has its own individual benefits. For example, bellows breath or Bhastrika pranayama has been associated right from 1970s to the present time with an increase in lung capacities, whether it's the inspiratory, IRV, ERV, FEV1, FVC, volume, FVC, SVC, all of them increase. There are studies across the years from 1970 to the present time. In 2006, an interesting study came out, which is particularly going to pertain to the practice which I will now show, which is the bumblebee breath or humming. What was this study? It showed, as you all know, in the paranasal sinuses, nitric oxide is produced. Now, when we do humming, which could even be humming your favorite film song or any song, a devotional song, humming produces vibrations in the air in the sinuses, and this pushes the nitric oxide out into the nasal cavity. And in the American Journal of Respiration and Critical Care Medicine in 2006, they showed that this nitric oxide generated as a result of humming was useful in the management of sinusitis. Would it help in this case? Maybe, maybe not. It will certainly help all of us to relax, because Brahmari and humming breath have been shown to reduce fast frequencies in the EEG, to have many other beneficial effects, generally to make us feel sleepy, good, induce a good sleep. And now I think in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to give you a small practice of the bumblebee breath. So in this practice, which is something many of you may already be familiar with, in these days, we should not touch our face. Just what we should do is synchronize it with some other movements. In yoga breathing, remember, inhalation and exhalation are preferably in a ratio of 1:1.5 or 1:2. So inhalation should be half the duration of exhalation. In other words, exhalation is double the duration, much longer than inhalation. The other thing is we should breathe diaphragmatically. So that means we have to keep our anterior abdominal muscles relaxed. Baby breath is the way we like to refer to it. You've seen a baby. A baby doesn't try to hold the abdomen in and be very conscious that they have a good flat abdomen. So babies are just a very gentle swelling of the abdomen. That's what you should have when you breathe in. Breathe out, and your abdomen should go inwards. And if you combine that going inwards, very gentle, with the humming sound, it's extremely relaxing. A few instructions before we actually go into practice. We'll synchronize it with the movement of the neck. So don't start. Inhale as you go back. Exhale as you come forward and touch your chin downwards. But of course, you can do other movements. I like to do it during Surya Namaskar. I like to do it during Bhujangasana. I like to do it during Shalabhasana. So you can synchronize it as you will. But all of you would be having a good idea. Inhale when the chest is getting expanded, and exhale as the chest is getting a little, not exactly contracted, but more pushing the air out. So we'll do that with inhalation and exhalation of the neck. Just remember that everyone breathes at a different rate. So I may be breathing faster than you. So if I am saying, when you are not, that doesn't matter, but you should stick to your own rate, not holding your breath at all in between. The other point is yoga practice should be joyful and effortless. So if you find that you are straining or finding it difficult, just stop and relax and keep your hands on your knees and go on doing the bumblebee breath. You can even do it if you're lying awake at night. It's a wonderful way to fall asleep. So we will do a few rounds. We just have 2 more minutes. One more thing that I would like to mention is as you exhale, let it be very gentle so that the air moves out. You can imagine it nicely moving the nitric oxide from your sinuses if you want, or just imagine a beautiful scene, lovely water in the sea, whichever you like. Close your eyes gently, back straight, pleasant expression on your face, hands on your knees. Inhale and move your neck backwards. Exhale and say, Continue. Gently open your eyes. And remember that you can combine this with different practices, like moving your hands upwards, bringing them down, moving your hands apart, bringing them together, Or in the Bhujangasana breathing, inhale as you go up, as you come down, you can make the humming sound. It's a wonderful way to quieten your mind and relax. And I would like to end with a mantra. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavedvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.